Welcome to Wizards Outlook, joined by Raymond Lyons. I'm Wilson Turpey Jr. And the Wizards fell to the Nets. The Nets were able to hold off the Wizards late. Both teams were kind of the bonus with about 4 to 5 minutes left in this one. Like literally early in the game, in the playback room, Ray talked about free throws, and they kind of sort of mattered in this one, especially down the stretch, as the Nets beat the Wizards 113 and 107. So, Ray, your thoughts on this one, and I'll go ahead and pull up some stats.
Yeah, man. It's a 6-point game. You miss 11 free throws. That pretty much tells the tale, man. Like it's not too much to ask to make at least half of those ones you missed. So yeah, man, it's just little things pile up. And then you do some things right, like you demolish them on the glass. You get to the line, but you don't make your free throws. So you're not doing yourselves any favors, man. And then the margin for error is slim, especially against those two guys. Yeah. And KD he did what he does. And you let Joe Harris be defensive player of the week. Like, thought I'd never see the day, but here we are. And then, man, just simple mistakes like the play where they both, I think it was Kispert and I can't remember who else it was, but they both chased Seth Curry, and he got an easy dump off the KD for a wide open three, like stuff like that. In the middle of you trying to make a surge to get back into the game, like stuff like that just compounds and makes your job harder than it has to be. Like we were talking about how many winnable games they had. You can go ahead and put this one on the pile. Like, and it's just inexcusable, man. It's stuff that's totally within their control. Like, you shouldn't miss 11 free throws. They went to the line 28 times and made 26. So the opportunities were there. They weren't able to capitalize. And that just pretty much spelled their doom, man. They got to be better than this, because as you said, it's only going to get harder, and these ones that you let slip away now are going to come back to haunt you when you get to the thicker part of your schedule. So yeah, I mean, they're back to 500.
Yeah, the Nets are back to 500, and the Wizards are, they're one over. And mind you, we were talking about before we closed out the playback room, Brooklyn's up 2-0 in the season series. Just to keep that in mind, while you had a chance to kind of gain some distance on this team, and you failed to do so. And like you talked about, you checked a couple boxes, but going back to defensively, teams not really feeling you. 9 turnovers for Brooklyn. And they were missing their, quote-unquote point guard tonight. 9 turnovers. Ben Simmons wasn't on the court tonight. 9 turnovers. So you killed them on the glass. You got a bunch of second chance points. And then you tricked away shots at the free throw line. And then you shot god-awful from 3. 25% from 3 is not a good look. And what makes this game hurt even more, you got everything you wanted out your big 3. You got 77 points out of them. 77. If I told you, if the Wizards checked those boxes, the big 3 all were, they were all functioning. They were somewhat efficient for the most part, which they were. Do that 27 and 19. That was the effort that was just wasted just now. Excuse me, talking about Porzingis. 27 and 19. But KD shot 13 of 20. He was unbothered for most of the night. The only time he was bothered was when he was fouled. So which he went 11. He went 11 of 11 from the line. Kristaps got to the line 14 times. He went 9 of 14. Kai got there 8 times, 7 to 8. 6 to 9 for Bill. Just And 6 and 9 is not it's not something huge where it's like, oh my goodness, it's horrible. But as a team, 34 attempts. When you shoot 25 from threes, it's just not a good look. Meanwhile, they shot 46 from the floor, 42 from three, and 92 from the line. Unbothered.
Like no resistance, man.
Just unbothered. And again, credit for the work you did inside, scoring in the paint and on the glass. But I think one of the that closing stretch when I think someone forced a tough shot by Brooklyn. Washington gets the ball in transition, and Joe freaking Harris stops like a 3-on-1 break, and it results in KD takes a bad quick shot over KP. Good contest by KP. But no one's back, and Royce O'Neal gets the rebound, and hits Kyrie, and still no one's back, and Kyrie rattles in the three. Game. So, but that was their fourth offensive rebound of the night. So 2 of their 4 offensive rebounds came at the end of this game, which ended up being huge because of the free throw line. And you turn the ball, like that's the sad part. 14 turnovers isn't a ton. But when the other team really isn't turning it over, bro, it's huge. It's magnified. So what was that? 5 more turnovers? That's 5 more possessions? That's how they kind of made up the difference.
Mm-hmm.
They got five possessions off of and some of the turnovers were just unforced. I'm not about to lie and say it was just outstanding defense by Brooklyn. Nah, that's not what it was. You have Claxton come out here and have a god-awful game. You know, he gets paid to do 2 things. He struggled with both of them in this game. You know, I thought Gaff looked better than him in his stint in this game, but you didn't get much out of it, man. And just attention to detail, and I give Brooklyn credit for that. They were just a little bit more buttoned up on the little things. That's it. They messed up some of the big things. They got, like you said, got demolished on the glass. But again, it's a tough L. And then what do you have next? Well, this is the tough part. So that's to close out November, and we all talked about how tough the month November was going to be. And we saw Washington do some good things, and then there was some bad. So, you know, we can review this later. But you got the Hornets again, who you haven't exactly it's just been easy. It hasn't been. And then you got the Lakers, which with all their issues and what have you, we've seen what happened. We saw a troubled, talented team come in Capital One earlier this year. You can't even write them off. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's precedent now. Also, Anthony Davis has been on one. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
You know, just being honest. AD's been great. Then you go to Chicago to be with the Bulls. Not fun. You got the Pacers, which you haven't had any fun with this year at all. And then you come right back home. John Wall returns to Capital One on the 10th of December. It's just the first 2 weeks, man. Blizzy Black said free throws missed and KD and Kyrie killed us. Yes. Yeah.
That's pretty much the story of the game, man.
And that's probably the best way to sum it up. And that's the thing. KD and Kyrie weren't really bothered. Like, at all. Like, I think when Kyrie shot 2 of 6 from 3, but he wasn't. I never really felt like he was bothered. Did you feel like there was the stretches where it was just outstanding defense and he was getting pushed off his spots? Or I remember him breaking defenders down, getting to the cup and just smoking layups.
Yeah, I mean, like they forced a couple tough ones at the end, but for the most part, he did what he wanted, man.
And that's the thing. I would think you wouldn't want those two. So I guess ideally you were fine going in with your big 3 battling those 2. And so your big 3 had 77. Just want to go ahead and carry the ones here. They had 66. But I'm going to go back to this. Guess who had double digits? Joe Harris is 14. And Joe Harris's 14 gives it's 80-77 them out of the quote unquote big threes of the night because of Joe Harris. That's crazy. I could see it being a recurring theme versus contenders where we get outplayed by effort. That's the craziest thing. I don't even know if we can call Brooklyn that.
You're right, because it's not even against contenders. We saw them fold against OKC. Like,
and that's the troubling part to me is this wasn't a full strength Brooklyn. You had your main three. You know what I'm saying? Like you got 77 freaking points out of it. For the most part, all three of them played pretty well outside of foul line and some shot selection things, but they were there. It's just not a good look. And again, Brooklyn's not the first team. They're not like they're not like it's not. If you ask me 10 teams that play like just extremely hard, I'm probably not mentioning them because it literally changes. I don't know if you guys watching the broadcast, at least the YES broadcast. John Vaughn had a clip in the first quarter before the game started, talking about trying to get them to do just that, just play hard consistently. It's just not a good look. It just wasn't a good look. And again, you got another tough month of games coming up, man. Right now, you're still a game over 500. This is where what Ray said earlier, the winnable games slipped away already. It's tough, man. It's tough. Yeah, that's why it's hard to be high on this team. We're struggling versus teams not at full strength. Yeah, and I get Washington's not at full strength as well. I totally get that. That said, you had more of your big guns than they had.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it a buck. Their big gun is a guy who doesn't score. Their third big gun. It's a guy who creates, not scores. You're a big three all or about a bucket. So it's just not a good look. And again, their third big gun is almost like single-handedly asked to kind of like tie in their defense. So when he's not there, it really hurts. So, I mean, it's just tough, man. But what I said, they got the Bulls next. I forgot already. Oh, man. No, I'm sorry. It's the Hornets next, and then the Lakers on Sunday. Hornets and Lakers, and yeah. And this is another thing that's troubling is all right, so Brooklyn's up 2-0. You can't let the Hornets. I don't know what that season series looks like, but those are the things that might add up later in the year because you didn't take advantage of those games that Ray talked about earlier. Some of these stretches you've had, these long stretches at home where OKC games like against OKC, where you drop games you shouldn't drop.
Mm-hmm.
They come back later because there's going to be a couple games that a team like the team you played tonight win some of those games just because one of those two dudes goes off. And they won a game they got no business winning. Just because somebody went nuts. The other night against Orlando, dude goes for 45. Yeah. Not a lot of people can go for 45 against that long team. They fortunately have one. So they were able to be like, hey, combat those guys. Everyone doesn't have that. You know, those types of things it sucks. It hurts. You know, Ray talked about on the Focus yesterday, talking about, Rui being out for extended period of time. That said, I thought that, Kispert provided good minutes off the bench tonight, but, you mentioned what Cardell brought up, a couple nights ago. They need more out of Will Barton and Monte Morris right now.
For sure.
You just need more. You need more out of those two right now. There's not another way to say it.
Yeah, especially with guys being down. They missing DeLon Wright and Rui's production. And those two guys are huge. So somebody got to fill in the gap. And that's the problem. Nobody's making up for it.
Yeah, you're kind of getting similar production to make up for DeLon and Jordan Goodwin, which is great, but no one's filled Rui's consistent double-digit scoring.
Mm-hmm.
Like a consistent double-digit score. And again, it's not like Brooklyn's bench did good tonight at all. Like Cam Thomas 2 for 5. Seth Curry, all he did was foul tonight. He got 6 rebounds and 5 fouls. And he's one of their designated shooters. So he didn't do anything. The Morris twin played 4 minutes. Yet and still, the benches were similar. Like it was eerily similar what they scored. which goes back to the starters. And look, man, it's tough. We'll see what happens. They got the Hornets, which it's never fun. Terry Rozier still hasn't gone Terry Rozier on them yet this year. So for Washington State, you got to hope that Terry doesn't do that. Again, it hasn't happened yet. He usually do for one of those a year, it feels like. Just because it's Washington. But we'll see what happens. See if Washington bounce back. Washington can bounce back. But right now, their little room of room for error, their little bit of wiggle room in the standings is shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those teams that started off slow, it's shrinking. It's shrinking. We got to change our offensive scheme because it's all about ISO scoring, and half of our players aren't those type of players. I don't even know. I doubt that West has an ISO scoring scheme. I just think those three, they're so important. And they have moments where their mistakes come at the worst times. I think that's like the moments when they decide, hey, I'm not swinging, I'm about to go get mine. Bad things happen more often than not. Or someone takes a bad shot. Like, I'm not mad that they have the ball, but like we talk about this with Kuz all the time. Like tonight, I thought he was under control for the most part. No, I take that back. He started well. He still found a way to take 8 threes.
Mm-hmm. For no reason. Like when he was having all this success getting downhill.
Brad got 6 of them up. Now, I'm not going to knock Brad for taking 6 threes. I'm just saying, but this was a game where you were getting whatever you wanted downhill. Everything you wanted. Like, you were getting to the line. Could have been there 40, 45 times as a team tonight. But, it's just decisions sometimes, I feel like, more so than anything. For Big J52, what up? They look tired. Back-to-back and then travel free throws, but they are gelling. Brad got to stop with the hero ball. Handle is weak, and he's ruining the long. Gil got to go for a real player. Yeah, and that's the thing with people having to go. What are you going to move Gil for? What did somebody like Gil? It's not a knock on him. What can he command back? And that's the tough part. Y'all going to end up, to get something back, y'all might end up losing one of these youngsters you like. And then y'all going to be really upset if said youngster, whoever it could be, lands somewhere else and goes crazy, and the person you get back is just here. Like, I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Ray, about that?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to give up Gil for somebody substantially better. So I think the roster is what it is, man. Unless the only way you move anything is if you blow it all up. And try to move the big chess piece. Other than that, anything else you do is going to be lateral at best. So, and talent is not the issue, man. Like they got pieces. They just got to put it together. So, yeah, that's the roster construction isn't isn't the biggest issue here.
You got 3 dudes tonight that went for 25, kind of easily. The only thing that kind of bothers them is the choices they make. But it's just the little things. They matter. Like they just literally matter. We watched what's it called this year. We watched like Golden State Twitter meltdown because their youngsters are doing youngsters like things. What is going on in the world? Player without a bunch of experiences doing stupid things. Yeah, they're going to do stupid stuff. This is part of it. So you know what they did? They just kind of like secured the line, insulated the lineups with a little bit more vets. Because young players are going to do young player things. What did Cam Thomas do tonight? Young player came on the court and did young player things. Still played 19 minutes. It wasn't a good 19 minutes, but it was 19 minutes. Yeah, I mean, some of it is the players don't.
Yeah, they just have to play better.
Okay, so like perfect example, right? And I want to make sure I say this so like I don't want anybody confuse it, right? So you got Kevin Durant, all-world scorer, yada yada, get that or whatever. But one of the first things we all think about with KD is like, yeah, the height, the size, all that good stuff, the skill, yada yada yada. Shot selection. It's just shot selection. Kuz is 6'9", 6'10", 220, 230, whatever. No, he's not KD by any shape, fashion, or form. He will never be Kevin Durant. Cool, great. We established that. However, Kyle Kuzma is insanely gifted and should easily average 20 plus in this league. And on this team, easily should average 20 without a problem. And he should average it efficiently at that. Just to be honest, I'm not harping on Kuz, just being real. 10 for 25, I don't have an issue with, but it's the shot selection. There's times when you have littles on you. Why take a three? You don't have to. You're 6'10", you're strong, you get downhill, you move people off you, keep attacking. And then when we see when he does take threes within the flow, they're great shots, they're good looks. But then we see threes where he's leaning, you know you shouldn't be doing it, and they look horrible. It's just better shots. KP at times gets the matchup on some guys. As soon as he starts getting rooted out, sometimes bad things happen. Feels like I got to force a shot. Sometimes maybe just kick the ball out and go repost. Just give it out, go get better position, repost. It's just the little things. You know, I know a lot of y'all talk about Brad and his handles weak. I don't think it's so much a weak handle. It's just sometimes just doing a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. Like I think all of them do. Their three best players do more than they need to do. A good example of someone on their team, and Rui isn't one of their best players. Like let me say that. But what I will give Rui is Rui knows Rui's game. Rui never does anything Rui doesn't want to do. It's that simple. You're not going to see Rui take a three just because. Rui's going to take a three because Rui wants to take the three. If you run Rui off the line, he's going to take the pull-up that Rui wants. And that's it. Like, if some of them could kind of adopt that, you're cool. Like, look at the way KD goes about his business versus Kyrie. Kyrie's going to do some off-the-wall stuff sometimes. KD's going, I'm going to get to my spot. If this is what you're giving me, bing, bing, pull. Turn around jumper. Oh, you my height. Let's have this dance. It's just they're working too hard, and they don't have to, man. Mm-hmm. And they are beyond gifted. Bragging, what is it? He averaged 30 points in this freaking league twice. It's not like he can't get a bucket. They find a way to work harder than they need to sometimes. Well, like most of the time, honestly. I mean, like young guys like Denny getting a play make, those offensive weapons instead of sitting in the corner, Kispert running around screens, get a couple open looks, cut like he does. I think some of the stuff with like Kispert and Ray, feel free to jump in. Like Kispert's a little different. What was that, 3 years of college? Mm-hmm. And I know Denny played pro ball, but like, you know, he's still getting acclimated to it. Like, and I think Denny's probably learning to play for the most part, not having to play without the ball. And even sometimes with Denny, it's kind of like just having that switch. I think having hit the switch to stay aggressive offensively. Like, I don't think he knows how to fully, like, navigate without the ball. Like, he understands how to hoop. Because there's times when he makes great cuts, he finishes and things of that nature. There's other times when it feels like he's kind of just floating at times. But I think some of that is your three main guys. And this goes part with being the three main guys. Get you guys involved. Get you guys going. You got the ball. Like, there's times we saw Brad hit Kispert on a great pass. There's other times we've seen Kispert cut and turn around and to those 3-2, like, hey, I'm open. You know? Even using Rui Moore as PR as a screen like it is a rookie. Yeah, man. Again, you got all three of those their main guys can handle the ball a little bit. Yeah, I'm not saying the coach is perfect, but some of that is, bro, just move the ball. Like, just move the ball. We watch what's it called? We watch Washington send two at KD at times. What did he do? Did he keep it and try to make another move? Or here, Royce, here, Cam, here, Joe. It's just that, and maybe the ball comes back, maybe it doesn't. But it's those little decisions, especially that comes with the territory of being the main guy. That's what. Mm-hmm. That's why like there's levels to it, and that's why it's so tough. That's just part of it. I think maybe the last one. He's a young player, man. It's part of it.
Growing pains. Yep. Like everybody has them.
Yep. And that's the fun part about it. Shit, I remember. Remember how Lakers fans treated Kuz? Kuz was always up and down. Boy, like y'all got like a mature version of Kuz, and he still got a ways to go, but you know, it's part of it. And that's the tough part about it is like Ray said, and Cardell mentioned, young players are always unpredictable, right? But your vets that you're supposed to be able to depend on, they gotta do better. So, looking at Will, Monty, some of the other veteran guys, I need y'all to do better. Those are the guys that you kind of have less room for patience with, because we know exactly exactly what you were brought here to do. There's a big body of work, example of your work or what have you. But appreciate y'all tuning in, man. Y'all have a great evening. Get some rest, all of you, and we'll see y'all Friday night for the Hornets.